I'm so stressed about my AP Euro test. I haven't studied at all. I haven't even listened to any of the lectures because I'm too focused on Mr. Shihi's colorful polos.
Why don't you just do the reading or go over your notes?
Ugh, I don't want to study. I think I'll just watch TV instead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to History Alive, a show where we talk with the long-dead historical famous figures of the past. Tonight's guest is a man who was the king of Bohemia, a devout Catholic, and the man who started the 30 Years' War. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome.
Yeah, I'm King Ferdinand II. Yeah, you all know me. Please hold your applause. Thank you. Now, after my achievements, well, let me just list them out for those of you who don't know. I was the Holy Roman Emperor, the Count of the Habsburgs, the King of Bohemia, the King of Germany. Is there anything I didn't do? Further, I started the 30 Years' War, which called attention to religious issues and stopped the nasty Protestants. Personally, and obviously, I won.
Sorry, I have to stop you there. You lost big time.
I don't know about that.
I think you lost. Why don't you take a seat?
Yeah, fake news.
Your face is fake news. So for those in the audience that aren't already familiar with you, what were your views on religion?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious to the audience, since they all know me. I'm King Ferdinand II. But I was a devout Catholic, not one of those Protestant statements. Don't even get me started on Jews.
Okay then. So in what ways did you use religion to increase your power?
Well, it's very simple. I had a basic philosophy: win wars. I started wars in Bohemia. I started wars with the Swedish, and it's really simple. I just won them. Further, I started the 30 Years' War, which drew attention to the certain religious issues Europe was facing. In particular, those disgusting Protestants who had infected Europe like a disease. Thus, I started a war on them. And as a result, well, obviously as a result, I mean, look at me, I won.
Sorry to break it to you, but no you didn't. Actually, northern 7 provinces were able to unite together, and they regained their independence through the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. So, sorry, but ultimately, your country,
I attained salvation in heaven. I personally spoke with God himself. So, clearly, I won on that front. Further, I defeated the Bohemians, I defeated the Swedes, I defeated every Protestant religious group that Europe was offering. So,
except England. Okay then, anyway, moving on. So, for the viewers out there who aren't already familiar with you, what were your views on religion?
I used Catholicism to make Europe great again.
So, while your philosophy seems to be correct, not only did you anger Protestants, but you also angered many Catholics, like even France, which is a highly Catholic nation, began to attack you.
Well, it seems that France only came on after my death, so that isn't actually true to my reign. However, in the case of France, well, they just betrayed us. That's something that we should have seen coming. And even if they did betray us, they still did spread Catholicism. I would rather be betrayed by a Catholic country than have to fight against a Protestant one. Also, I'm content with knowing that the French people aren't going to heaven. Overall, even with the French betrayal, Catholicism was still strengthened.
Well, that seems to be about all the time we have for tonight. So,
well, I mean, don't you want to hear more of my accomplishments? I think the crowd wants
actually, no. I think we've heard enough of your accomplishments tonight. Please join us after a brief commercial break, where we will be interviewing another great Austrian ruler, Charles VI.
Wow, that was more interesting than I thought it would be. Oh, I got a notification from my favorite YouTuber, John Brown. I wonder what his new video is about.
Hey everybody, I'm John Brown and welcome to today's Crash Course in European History. You're joining us during a time of absolutism, where kings tried to seize sovereign power for themselves and their families. Today we'll be talking about King Ferdinand II of Austria, or at that time the loosely strung Holy Roman Empire, and at this time Germany. Now, King Ferdinand II tried to seize absolute power for himself during the rife tension 1600s. During these 1600s, tensions between Protestants and Catholics were rife, and there's only so much the Holy Roman Empire's Peace of Augsburg, which was signed around 50 years ago, could do. Ferdinand was a staunchly Catholic king who wanted to take back power as the Holy Roman Emperor. He wanted to take back power from the German princes, nobles who had governed their own provinces with little to no royal help and little to no royal power over them. He also wanted to reimpose Catholicism as the one true religion in Germany and weed out what he thought were diseases like Protestantism, especially Calvinism and Lutheranism. It all started in 1618 in Bohemia. The peasants and most Bohemians had revolted against the king as they believed that he was a terrible king who had cracked down on their Protestant beliefs. It is worth to note that Bohemia was an extremely Protestant nation at this time and was one of the strongest states in the Holy Roman Empire. But Ferdinand II eventually defeated them at the Battle of White Mountain. This allowed him to forcibly reconvert Bohemia into a Catholic nation, and he stamped out Protestantism and had begun the 30 Years' War. From 1618 to 1648, the empire was a mess. The war is often fit into 4 phases. There was the Bohemian phase, as we discussed earlier, then the Danish phase, where the king stamped out Protestantism in Denmark under the rule of King Christian IV. But then the Swedes fought back in the Swedish phase, as Protestant King Gustavus Adolphus wanted to protect Protestantism in Europe, and also wanted to take some of the Holy Roman lands. That 4th phase is called the International phase, and was a bloody, gruesome battle with no real end until 1648. In 1648, many war-torn countries emerged and signed the Treaty of Westphalia. This treaty reimposed the Peace of Augsburg, and it gave amnesty to Calvinists. So now Calvinism could be practiced within certain provinces if the princes decide. It also, in an ironic twist, gave princes nearly sovereign power over their own states and made the Holy Roman Emperor nothing but a puppet over its people. And how did absolutism fare in the Great Battle? Well, not great, actually. Absolutism, as you might have heard in the terms of the Treaty of Westphalia, had all but vanished. And who was responsible for that? Well, Ferdinand II. Ferdinand II, in his attempts to make Germany and Austria a more absolutist state, had failed. He drove the Holy Roman Empire far, 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 far away from absolutism. Thank you for watching. This episode is brought you by Mr. Sheehy's Period 3 AP European History class. We know you haven't been reading your textbook, guys, so keep watching.
Wow, that video was very interesting, but that guy can rant forever. I think I'm gonna watch TV. With absolutism on the rise during the 15th and 16th centuries, there were many memorable monarchs. One of them being Charles VI of Austria, whom we will be taking a look at today.
Perhaps the most well-known accomplishment during Charles VI was the enactment of the Pragmatic Sanction. This allowed the passing of hereditary Habsburg lands to females, which allowed Charles to pass the kingdom down to his daughter. Charles VI restored aristocratic privileges to the Hungarian nobles in return for the acceptance of the hereditary Habsburg rule. This stopped the revolts of the Hungarian nobles and allowed the Habsburgs to make significant achievements in state building. He was a Catholic, of course, and he wanted others to follow the Catholic religion as well. Charles imposed Catholicism to some degree, but his reign wasn't completely based on religion, unlike Ferdinand II.
Wow, that was a pretty informative night about Austrian absolutism. Too bad none of those things will help me on things that make you go,